So, you've probably already met me. My name is Molly Richards, and I'm one of the adolescent medicine attendings and the family planning attendings. And I'm going to do some brief video spots in order to kind of let you know how we do certain things in this clinic, so you can refer back to how we do things. This part of it is just going to be how to set up for a pelvic exam. This can change per the attending you're working with or, per the complaint, but this is kind of a general example, especially if you were testing for everything. Okay, so first of all, when you're setting up for a pelvic exam, it's good to do before the patient has ever changed, and to set it up on this table right here so you have everything ready for when the patient does get changed and you get them ready. So the first thing you're going to do is make sure you get chucks on the table and on the bed. One to set up your supplies and the other to set up for the patient. Okay. Just like this. Okay. Then you want to get all your testing materials here, especially if they're being tested for vaginal discharge. There's a couple ways you can do that. First is with this red top tube. This can test for trichomonas. You can also use these swabs for your wet prep. Another way to test for a wet prep is to use these blue top tubes. And people will do it differently, but you can put a few drops of saline in one and keep the other one clear. The saline is to keep, potentially the trichomonas alive, although it's very unlikely for trichomonas to die in the short time from when you take the sample to when you're going to look under the microscope. You'll also get from one of these top drawers just cotton tip applicators, which will be for swabbing the vagina as well. Okay. Right. If you're not doing a urine sample for gonorrhea and chlamydia, which you can do, you'll use this, which is also a swab that you can set up if you need it. Okay? And that's in the top drawer. Okay. As part of your setup, you'll probably also need some lubricant to do a bimanual exam and also for the speculum. And you'll need a speculum. Okay. There's two types of speculums, a white and a green. The green is a longer. I think it's longer, maybe not. The white one is usually sufficient unless you have somebody who's very overweight or their cervix is very deep, in which case you might need the green one. Okay. So that's basically how you set up. Okay. When you have a patient get changed for a pelvic exam, you can give them a sheet. Okay. They do not have to take all of their clothes off. Usually all they need to do is take everything off from the waist down. I tell them to sit on the table and spread the sheet over them so they can leave their top on, unless you need to do a breast exam or other type of exam, in which case you can give them a gown also. For the speculum exam, and your attending will show you this as well. Often if they've never had a pelvic exam, I'll show them how the speculum works and before I ever use it. The light is attached to the wall. You always want to check that it is working by clicking on the light switch before you do it, and then it slides in kind of perpendicular. And so that way when you put it in this and open it up, the light will be able to enable you to see the cervix. Okay? When you come in the room and get them set up, you pull out the stirrups. Okay, usually pull them out to the side and open them up. They'll put their heels in the stirrups, okay? And then they want to scoot their bottom to the very end of the table, so they should be sliding off the table. That way you can get the best look at the cervix, okay? And then after that, there's a stool. You can sit down and start your procedure, okay? After you're all finished, you'll be able to take your samples to the lab, and that'll be our next video part to do a wet prep and to leave any lab samples you want to go to the lab. What was the other thing? Make sure, which I didn't do at this point because it was an example, all of these are labeled. So even your wet prep tube should have a sticker on them. Okay? Obviously you'll be in the room with an attending. And so if you have any questions about setup or the procedure, feel free to ask.